Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and turn on notifications so that you will receive alerts when there are new episodes. Go get it.
I've been grinding for so long, I wake up and chase my goals. I go out and I go get it. How to code, that's all I know. I don't succeed, then I don't breathe. Success, what does it mean? If I conquer all my goals, then I'm living out my dream. Dig deep, go out and get it. Success Chronicles, compete until it's finished. Success Chronicles, go take care of your business. Success Chronicles, it's deeper than just winning. Success Chronicles.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Chip Baker coming to you with the Hangout and Highlight session on the Success Chronicles. Truly excited to have Dr. Natalia Wiechowski on with us. Great lady, blessed and fortunate to do some really cool things throughout her journey and her career. I'm so excited to have her on again on the Success Chronicles to highlight her. She's got some new things going on. I just wanted to touch base with her just to let the Success Chronicles audience check her out and show her some love. So first, just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to do the Hangout and Highlight session on the Success Chronicles.
Chip, thank you so much for providing me with this opportunity and for sharing my lessons learned and my failures and my hopefully inspiring new ideas with your audience.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, if you don't mind, let's just dive in and talk a little bit about your background. Tell the audience a little bit about who you are and what it is you do.
Absolutely. So I've started out as a social scientist in Germany. My parents are from Poland. I studied social science, moved to the United Arab Emirates, and there first worked for the government, the educational section at the age of 23. And I realized after 3.5 years, that's not really mine. Then I moved into the private sector, worked in marketing for 2.5 years, won awards, and was on the cover of leading magazines in a male-dominated industry. And I realized, you know what? No, that's also not it. Then I went on my first sabbatical to reinvent myself and realized, you know what? I just love the American dream. I am fascinated by the American mindset and how you folks, in quotation marks, market yourself, how you use social media to talk about yourself, to present yourself, the self-confidence that you have.
Mm-hmm.
It was such a difference to me being raised in Germany, in which you were told to don't stick out, don't shine too bright, you have your place and that's fine. So over the next years, then I studied the art of personal branding, impression management. I was following people like Russell Brunson and Gary Vaynerchuk and built up my whole new career. And it was all about personal branding / social selling, especially on LinkedIn, because I realized that was an incredible niche. And especially in the German-speaking region, people were like, LinkedIn, what's that? So that worked amazingly. Literally, over a period of 7 years, built up my own business, became an international speaker, a best-selling author, a coach, a consultant, taught entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, and also work with global brands when it comes to trainings, etc., etc. And then, end of 2022, I realized the last 2 years were fantastic. I literally turned into a self-made millionaire. And now what? Because, on paper, and it was the same thing that I did wrong in my first, let's say, round of career progression. I followed what looks good and what other people say I should do to be successful. And again, on paper, it looked successful. But I reached a point, Chip, in which I didn't feel anything. And then I reached a point in which I felt rage and anger, and I had learned how to deal with these emotions. So this is when I gifted myself with a second sabbatical, worked with therapists and healers and shamans, and learned how to regulate my nervous system, how to get rid of childhood trauma and teenage trauma. And in the process, learned that I am here to remind people of what it really means to be their true selves, of being authentic, of reconnecting them with the wisdom of their body. Especially in the Western world, I have the feeling that we're too much in the hustle and grind mode, too much in our mind, especially as I'm spending more time in Asia right now. helping people to slow down and helping them to remind themselves of like, why did I start my business and why is it so
Mm,
difficult right now? How can I bring more of the real me into my business and through that experience more ease, grace, joy, inspiration, and wealth? Because guess what? Life and business doesn't need to be war and doesn't need to be so hard. Let's stop here because otherwise I'm going to talk for the next 10 minutes.
ah, well, just hearing you talk about, your journey and the things that you've been blessed to do and travel and see, what's a couple lessons that you've learned along that journey?
Hmm. The first thing that I realized way too late is that it's important that we design the time and truly listen to what we really want. Way too many people get an advice here and a mentor here and listen to this person and that person and that person and treat their advice as if it was the Lord or God or the universe himself who shared that. If that person lives a life and has the career that you want, fantastic, listen to them. But if you don't want to live like them, if you don't want to work like them, thank them for the advice and do your own thing. There are so many people at the age of 40 and 50 who have so much unlived life in them, and that makes them feel depressed and uncreative and uninspired. And that just hurts my soul. So that's a big one that first comes to mind.
That's so good. I love that. And it's so true. Be aware of who you take advice from. I love that. That's so good. Well, you have a new project that you have. You want to talk about what that is?
Yeah, in my second sabbatical, I took really 9 months to disconnect from work. I closed all of the cycles and contracts that I had committed to or devoted my time and energy and love to. I talked to my clients and I said, I'm gone. I really need to do the inner work. I want to do the inner work. And to keep in touch, I'm going to share my story on social media, especially on LinkedIn, because in the past, LinkedIn was my platform. I taught people the art of
Hmm.
organic content creation. And my team, I asked them, could you please track all of my content pieces? And they did that. And at the end of the year, I then looked at the, let's say, I think it was 25 best performing or top performing content pieces. And I mirrored that back to my community and I said, listen, obviously, that's what you find exciting. I would like to gift you with a book. Not so much of a book for my ego, it's like, oh my God, I'm so amazing, I wrote a book. No, it's
Hmm.
a book from the community to the community. So tell me, what kind of questions do you have? And I'm going to make sure to give my very best to speak as clearly and truthfully as I can to help you on your journey to your true self. So I did that. My community was fantastic. And within literally less than 30 days, this book here, Barefaced Authenticity, was birthed. And of course, that was just the first draft or the first round. And then I needed, I think, 3 more months until it was proofread and it had a beautiful design and everything. So
Hmm.
this book was such a beautiful memory of the inner change that I went through. And now it helps many individuals who say, you know what? My life is good, but I don't really feel successful. There are other nuances to success that I finally have the courage to look at. And what I did with the book is there are 25 stories out of my life in which I show how flawsome I am. Flawsome means full of flaws and nevertheless awesome, or maybe because of that awesome. And every story has three questions. And these are not yes or no questions, and there's no right or wrong. It's really like an intimate conversation, like a date night with your soul or with your heart or higher self, however you want to call it. So after reading it, I can promise you that you discovered new aspects of yourself, that you connected deeper to yourself, that you gave yourself permission to shine brighter, to maybe express a part of you that you judged as ugly, unlovable, fat, shameful, disgusting, unnerving. And for me, this is the art of truly living. If you want to express yourself fully and live a rich life, the journey lies in accepting all parts of ourselves, because the human psyche is not as simple as we think it is. There are so many eyes, there are so many
Yeah.
aspects of us. And I'm not talking about schizophrenia, that is something totally different. I'm talking about we're like a flower with all of these different beautiful leaves. And if we bring all of these aspects in harmony, if we learn how to communicate with them, how to not take ourselves so seriously, magic happens.
Mm, it's awesome. Well, since this is the Success Chronicles, and hearing you talk about your journey, I would consider that to be hugely successful. Let's touch on success. What's your definition of success at this time?
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Let's start with my old one. My old definition of success was very much connected to aspects of reputation, status, and the materialistic realm. So it was a lot about I have so and so many followers, I'm an internationally booked speaker, I'm a best-selling author, which is okay because I'm a Capricorn. We are a lot about, reputation, status. You can't get that out of me. But I've learned to handle that and to not allow it to take over my life, because guess what? There are also other nuances of life that we're allowed to look at. A tool that helps me in answering the question, what is real success, or I by now would say holistic success, is the Wheel of Life. It's a life coaching tool, and it divides life into different pies or different elements. So you have things like work and career, you have your finances, you have your relationships, you have sexuality, spirituality, you have sports, you have, again, friendships, family. So all of these different areas. And for me, success, Chip, is when you can look at all of these pies or into all of these areas of life and feel that you are at least at 50% of joy or contentment or happiness. If you have one or two of these areas where you feel, gosh, I'm so disconnected, I'm so unhappy, we're allowed to work on that. And I'm not saying that we will always be super joyful and successful and satisfied in all of these areas, because life is change and life is continuously moving and it's fluctuating, and that's totally fine. But a lot of people, myself included, they totally ignore certain things like their health. It's like, oh yeah, this body is this meat suit and whatever. I can sleep when I'm dead, and when I need something, I just take an operation. I book an operation. I take some pills. I don't think that this is how we're meant to live. And I think your body is listening and listening and listening. And at a certain stage, it just fights back, not because it hates you, but because it loves you. And because it has to scream and come up with the symptoms because it was whispering before that and we weren't listening. So health is a big thing that a lot of people ignore. Friendships is a big thing that a lot of people ignore. Romantic relationships is also a thing. So many of my friends are like career, 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 and then they're 40 or 45 and like, ugh, well, actually I want to find a partner and maybe I want to get married and maybe I even want to have a child. I'm like, okay, and what happened over the last 10 years? Yeah, I was just focusing on my career. Not that I'm blaming or shaming anybody here, because a lot of this was also true for me. For me, it's all about creating awareness, how ignorant we sometimes are and how much we're running in the self-created hamster wheel, or how much we're stuck in the matrix, if I want to use this metaphor. Yeah.
So good. Well, as we close, I'd love for you to get an opportunity to share with the audience where they can go follow you, show you some love, and get that book.
For sure. So LinkedIn is definitely my major platform. If you don't like LinkedIn or think like, nah, I'm not visiting that too often, Instagram, you'll find me on Instagram. I changed my handle right now. So in the past it was at Think Natalia. Now I changed it and updated it with a new brand to Dr. Natalia Wiechowski. And my book, you can get it on Amazon. So I published it on Amazon.com. That's the English version. There's also a German version, but it's not relevant here. So it should be uncomplicated to get a copy. I also made sure that the investment is reasonable. It's less than a ticket to the cinema. So literally everybody who is my target audience can afford it. And enjoy. If you have any feedback, any story that you would like to share with me, please don't hesitate. Don't be shy. I would love to hear from you.
Awesome. Well, Doc, I just want to say again, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the Success Chronicles, and I wish you continued success.
Thank you so much. Thanks once again. It was wonderful, and same to you.
Yes, and thank you guys for checking out this episode. We'll see you next time. God bless. Go get it.